Chicago just didn't look like a good soccer team at all. Is that your observation?
Well, and
Carmen?
they're supposed to be better. Go ahead, Carmen. You were at the game though.
I was. They did not look good.
Yeah.
Not in the least.
So it's great that we won 3-0 and we're at home. You would expect that, especially after just seeing the team. They did not seem to click at all as a unit. I know Schweinsteiger's not with them anymore. Who's their new DP that came over? He's
Oh, you're talking about Shaqiri,
who didn't even start. I don't think.
No, he did not.
Yeah. Shaqiri
He came on later.
Just kidding.
Okay. Before y'all get into it, the Colonel says Atlanta United was not the only game on Sunday.
Oh. Really?
Maybe he's making a joke because Chicago also played.
Good point. Good point.
It was on Sunday because Fox is what.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't.
It was TV, but it was
right. So my point was right there. You could have contractual things with some of the network TV. So thank you for the Colonel for straightening us out there. All right,
but okay. So Chicago is 10th, which is not good, but it's a lot better than where they've been before.
Yeah. Okay.
So
they just did not pass my eyeball
And what
test.
I would say is the thing about Chicago in the past years is that they've been okay, going forward or whatever, but particularly in the midfield and protecting, the defense has been shambolic. You just run through their midfield, right? And they got Kellen Acosta, who is a legit player. I mean, he can really play. It's a MLS veteran for a long time. And so I think that that's a huge upgrade for Chicago. I was expecting them to be a little better because of that. Yeah. And they have been.
But now I watched Acosta. He didn't make too much of an impact in the game, though.
Well, apparently not.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to talk about the game?
Sure.
Yeah, get into it.
Well, one thing I would like to say is that I think the theme of these two games and the theme of the season so far has been Muyumba partnership with Sleaze, right in the very beginning of the game. It's in the highlight package if we want to go to it at 45 seconds in the highlight package. One thing that you are seeing this year, and it's funny because Pineda been talking about it the whole time. So Pineda has called ourselves a pressing team that he's always for pressing. I have not seen us as a pressing team ever. I know the commentators sometimes say, oh, Atlanta United likes to be a pressing team. We're not a pressing team. Right. I don't think we've ever been a pressing team. And in particular, we have been woeful over the last year and a half at turning people over up the field.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I said. We have such a good forward line. We've got to be able to turn them over. And the biggest thing about a press, everybody always blames the attackers when you're not counter pressing, blah, blah, blah. But you cannot press unless you have the initial balls matched up, the outlets, right? The outlet passes. So one of the things that's so different is that Sleaze and Muyumba recovering it, they actually have the midfield. We don't have empty midfield anymore.
Yeah.
And because of that, now you're suddenly starting to see occasional moments where guys who are so, whatever, like Gigi, who's been trying to press the whole time and really been unsuccessful. Mm-hmm. If you watch this clip, look how successful Gigi is pressing, because show the clip, just don't play it yet, but just have it frozen at the beginning of the play, right? Look at the midfield. Is there an outlet? They have three guys who are trying to go. And classically, when we would see us like this, they would have like two options. We've talked about this on a podcast last year, right? Oh, there's two options right here. They've got three guys and we've got three guys matched up with them. You can point to which guys are matched up with which.
I think this guy gets all nervous in the back left here, doesn't he?
Well, he turns around to go back because he has nowhere to go. So play the clip.
Yeah.
So he's looking up the field and he's got nowhere to go. And then he's forced to do that. And we turn him over right at the top of the box and we get a really good opportunity, right? That's the way you score in the modern game. Yeah. Right.
So
by turning people over.
While you say you haven't seen the press, you're saying there's an example of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what's so different this year is we actually have a midfield that's not vacant, that's marked up. And so we're starting to see moments where we're turning them over up the field. Sleaze is picking up some passes, and even when he's not, he's marked up the guy.
Sleaze is fantastic.
Sleaze looks to me legit. Really good.
Really good.
I agree.
Yeah, I've been nothing but impressed.
So this is the problem, right? We were actually really, really, really hoping that, Gigi didn't qualify with Greece, but Sleaze qualified with Poland for the Euros.
Yeah.
So he's gone for the entire European Championship, people.
Boo.
What you're going to see is instead of him, you're going to see Fortune.
Mm-hmm. Who, has potential.
Yeah, Fortune's
but
decent player,
yeah,
but he's no Sleaze.
He's no Sleaze. He needs
Sleaze.
the time to figure it out. But yeah, that's a gigantic loss. And then we already know Almada is out for probably the Copa and the Olympics, and then may or may never come back depending on the price in his head. We've got thankfully Giacomakis is here.
Yes, thankfully, thanks for missing the penalty kick and letting Greece get eliminated. So he's not.
Gregerson's still TBD, right?
Yeah, he seems to be coming back sooner rather than later.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
I mean, people are talking about him being back in a week.
Oh, really?
So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, they originally said 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And we were, I remember we on the podcast, you said 3 weeks, it means, month and a half. But I feel like Atlanta United has been pretty on it when they've said 3 weeks. They kind of mean 3 weeks, and it's kind of been 3 weeks. He's going to be back, I think.
Good.
And
I mean, we'll see. He's not back yet.
Yeah.
Derek Williams and who else got injured?
Derek Williams got injured and Jamal Tiare. Now, Tiare is not such a bad loss when Gigi's around because he's not going to start over Gigi.
So they said 2 to 4 weeks for both of those players, which means maybe in the 3 to 4 week window.
And Williams would be a big loss if Stian Gregerson is not back, because if Williams is out now, so the last couple of games it's been Williams and Cobb.
Yeah.
So it would be Abram and Cobb. What do you think about that?
That's not ideal.
That's a good way to put it.
You wonder at that point, do you switch to like some sort of 3 in the back formation? I don't know if you had that.
I mean, one thing I will say is that, a lot of people are talking about Williams being good. We pointed it out a few times. I disagree. I think he's got some real flaws. There's a reason why he's bounced around the MLS. But people are like, yeah, but we're not giving up goals. And it's true. He hasn't been exposed as much. And the reason, in my opinion, why that's happening is because Sleaze is doing a fantastic job picking up like the most dangerous guy. Muyamba's working hard off of it.
Yeah.
And we're protecting our back four. The number of times that we actually, broke things up just in front of the back four through Sleaze was just astonishing. There was a moment, not in this game, but in the second game, I don't know whether it's in the highlight package, but we gave the ball away horribly. Right, Almada gave the ball away in a terrible giveaway, and Sleaze just won it right back because he was still sitting there right in a perfect spot. Okay. And the last time I saw Atlanta United give the ball away and then recover it that quick was just like never.
Yeah,
right, or at least not in the last number of years. I mean, so this is the difference that kind of a player makes.
So I'm trying to remember in the Chicago game, did we score just before half? Or
yes. So 2:17 in the highlights is the first goal. Saba, who's usually playing on the right, actually switches over. And the thing I like to say about this is, Saba's really smart about his movement. It's funny on this play because the commentators are saying, how did Saba run by their right back who's supposed to be really fast? And the answer is, it's all about timing.
Yeah, because right? Saba's not fast.
No, he's not that fast, but he continually gets open and behind people because his timing of runs is excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, really excellent.
Yeah, and he's very explosive. When he goes, he goes.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter there's some people who are arguing about whether Saba's really good and why is he so good. In my opinion, the thing that you're not talking about, the reason why he's so good is the timing of the runs. And you can't teach that, or you can try. I've tried, but it's very hard. And there's the people who do it, they can really
it's experience. And sometimes it just clicks when you see the angle and the spaces as a player. That's something you can take advantage of.
Yeah. So in this case, the overload. I mean, this is what I've been trying to say about for 2 years now, or 3 years now with Pineda, 2.5 years, right? So when we had the airplanes. Right. He was always talking about overloading. And I'm like, it doesn't work because A, they were static, and B, it was an overload 2v1 where everybody knew where it was coming from all the time. So all the team had to do is have some plan for it, and they did, and then they blocked it, and then they got counterattacks and they scored on us. Here's a perfect example of an overload because you have Silva, who's our normally left of the front three, playing it to Saba, who's normally our right of the front three, and they're both on the left side. So they've created a sort of 2v1 here. I know it looks like the other two defenders for Chicago are in the play, but it's kind of a 2v1 overload. And this is an unpredictable overload because who thought Saba, the right forward, is going to be popping up on the left, right? And when you do that, right, in this particular case, nobody at right back for Chicago has planned to see Saba over there. So they have to react to that. They have to talk to each other. And when they do that, sometimes it don't go so well.
It seems like we only allow the airplane from the right side now.
I know.
It does. Yeah, Wiley never
And that's
goes
what I
in.
was saying. So what I don't understand and what I would still argue, people are like, oh, Lennon's been so good. I'm like, he could still be that good. And Wiley could be good if they pick their moments and it's unusual and you don't know who's coming, right?
Yeah.
I loved Stian Gregersen has gone forward a couple times and he's looked terrific with the ball in the front third, right? So again, if they don't know who it is, nobody's responsible for Stian Gregersen. So if he occasionally, I'm not talking about a lot, but 2 times a game, 3 times a game, maybe he shows up, there's nobody responsible for that. And that's where you create real turmoil because the defense is like, who's supposed to be for that?
Yeah. So do you want to check this goal out here?
Sure.
Let's do it.
You
All
did
right, hit
describe
play.
it.
So just slots it right down the edge of the 18 and cross into Yakamaki's, of course, who's just on his horse.
Yeah.
Easy little poke in.
And we talked in the past about, particularly, in past years where we've had some good wingers and things, right? About how, we were on Lennon because, he crossed the ball all the time and created all these opportunities. And Pineda would talk about he's the best creator in the league. And we never scored off of it. Yeah. And the reason why we didn't score off of it is we didn't have people running in the box on those teams, right? Now we always have Gigi, like he's always there. And obviously one thing that we learned, as we're about to see on these highlights, is Tiare does it too.
Yeah.